I watch videos just like you know, trying to get inspired just like you, learning just like you, get motivated just like you. But sometimes, you know, these motivational speakers feels like they're a little bit out of touch with reality, to be honest with you. There was this guy who says, you know, if you know what's better than cutting your own grass? He says, have somebody else cut it, and while you're sipping on some cold iced tea. Or he says, you know what's better than you fixing your own car is bring it to a mechanic, and he'll fix it for you. Well, it's all fine and dandy until the mechanic makes $120 an hour, and he charges a minimum of 1 hour to look over your car, make sure everything is fine, and you're only making 20, 30 bucks an hour. Why would I want to bring my car to a mechanic when I could do the work myself and save myself all kinds of money, especially when I know how to do the work? It's something I never understood. Maybe you guys have an answer for that, because it makes no sense to me. I mean, yeah, would I like for somebody to fix my car instead of me fixing my car? Yeah, well, of course, but you know, I'm not a baller. I'm a baller on a budget. I'm trying to get there, to be honest with you. All right, I'm making a video for you guys. We're gonna back up this car because I have a 2-car garage, like probably a lot of you guys. But I could only fit 1 car because I have a ton of stuff in this garage that I never use. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this car out, and I'm going to put the other car in, because the other car is the car I'm going to use to hopefully give you guys some little knowledge and understanding of what you should be doing when time comes to, well, like right now, winter is upon us. So what we should be doing is looking over the car, make sure the tire pressure is good and the fluids are good and the wife is happy and my little girl is happy and the car is safe. You know, that kind of stuff really is what we're doing. I want to back this car out, and what I'll do is I'll put the other car in and we'll check the fluids. That's what this video is about, essentially. Checking the fluids of the checking the fluids of the car and the seat. Golly, what did the wife do? Anyway, checking the fluids of the car, as I was saying, make sure that the car is fine for the winter. What we're gonna do is check the battery, engine, transmission, power steering, coolant, brakes, lights, tires, that kind of stuff. All right, let's move to the other car. All right, we'll back this other car in. I think it's a little better suited for the kind of video I want to do for you guys anyway. Back this one in, and we'll do some. I mean, you do want to, since we're doing it, you might ask yourself, why is this guy doing all this? Well, you do want a flat surface to check your fluids. You don't want to be checking your fluids on a hill. There's a car coming. Stand by, buddy. Stand by. I got you. You don't want to be checking your car on a hill. Then you're going to get a false reading, and it ain't going to help you. You're going to think you're low on something, like the engine oil, and it ain't going to be good for you. You know what I mean? You end up putting oil in the car that you don't really need, doing things you don't need to do. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Here we go. We are in place. All right, let's do this. Pop the hood, pop the trunk, and we got this going on. All right, so we have the hood open on the car. We're going to be looking at some fluids. First thing you want to look, well, not the first thing, but one of the things you want to look anyway is the battery. I just had this battery replaced not too long ago because it was just not cranking as fast in the morning, and even though the terminals were clean, I knew it was the battery because experience taught me it was the battery. The car was almost not starting anymore in the morning anymore, so replaced the battery and things are back to normal. How also do I know that? I also know that because a while back I had replaced, actually last winter, I had to replace the alternator because it was making a funny noise. One of those days that the wife had to take me to work in the morning, and she almost didn't make it back home. Actually, she did make it back home, but she was only a couple of blocks away. She called AAA and got the car towed, and then I just went to go buy an alternator and replace it. So like I said, you check the battery, you check the brake fluid. There is a minimum and a maximum, and you can see here's your maximum line, and your minimum is down here, and this is your indicator that the brake fluid is good. And then what do we have? A power steering fluid is right there. You have a minimum and maximum cold, a minimum and maximum hot. Right now it's at the bottom of the maximum, at the bottom of the minimum hot, and it's looking like, if you're looking at it, it's a little bit wet. It might be developing a leak or something. I don't know. I gotta look into it. Coolant to your indicators are gonna be right here. This is your full, and this is your low down here. And I am right, can't tell you. Right here. I am right about here somewhere, so we're looking good. And in that regard, windshield washer fluid, I mean, it's just stuff to wash your windshield with. What I usually do, you should be able to buy windshield washer fluids that they're good for really cold temperatures. And if you cannot find any windshield washer fluid for cold temperatures, I've done this before. I throw in some isopropyl alcohol. This way keeps the lines from freezing. You're gonna smell some alcohol though, just thought I'd give you a heads up. And this is your engine and this is your transmission, but I'm gonna put the tripod up before I do that, so that, because I don't have a third arm, guys. I don't have a third arm, and because of that, you're gonna have to, just give me a second and we'll take care of that. Did I miss anything? Coolant, power steering, windshield washer fluid, battery, brake fluid. Oh, while we're at it, what we can do is look at the wiper blades. Usually I try to change them once a year. If the weather where you live is really bad, I change them twice a year. The blades are still good. I mean, the thing wipes clean. It's not like it's leaving the streaks on the windshield when that's fine. The blade is fine. The wife hasn't complained about it yet, so I guess we're good. All right. Let me get a tripod up and we'll check the engine oil and transmission oil, and we'll also talk about the tire. All right, guys, I failed to get a rag to check the oil. My bad. Let's grab one real quick. Here, we'll use these paper towels. So the oil you check. With the engine off. Make sure you're on a flat surface, and it's going to have a minimum and a maximum level, and that minimum and maximum gap is usually 1 quart of oil. Try to check it as often as you can. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can show it to you. And it's right there at the, you see it? Right between the dots. It's right at the top of the higher dot. I mean, the engine is full. I want to check this as often as possible. I remember when I first met my wife, she was driving this Mustang convertible, you know, the Mustang GT, and you know, being the mechanic that I am, I figure I'd help her out. And yeah, let me fix this tripod a little bit so you guys can maybe take a better, see a better angle. How's that? So I'm checking the oil on their car, and by God, this thing has got like it was that Mustang GT convertible, you know, women are like, your wife likes the convertible. And I'm checking the oil, and this thing is 3 quarts of oil low. 3 quarts of oil, and the engine takes 5.5 quarts. My point of the story is don't like, I love my wife, but don't be like my wife that just neglects looking at the basic systems of the car. That's how you end up blowing an engine, and then before you know it, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Funny thing, then the transmission failed anyway, and we got to get that fixed. But let's get the car started, and we'll check the transmission fluid, and then we'll move on to the tires. Stand by. Just like the engine oil, the transmission oil dipstick, or the transmission system, has a minimum and a maximum safety range as well. But unlike the engine that only has one low and one high, where that gap is 1/4. The transmission, be that it's an hydraulic fluid, can operate at cold temperatures and at hot temperatures. And as the engine gets warmer, that fluid expands. So if you end up checking the transmission oil when it's cold, it's going to have a very narrow band safety range. And if you're checking the transmission hot, it's going to have the same size and narrow band safety range. There you go. And the transmission fluid looks good. I mean, well, it's a little bit on the low side, below the higher temperature safety. Here, this is what I was telling you about. If you see here, let me see if I can show you. You have your low temperature safety range, like the low mark and the high mark. Then you have your high temperature safety range, the low mark and the high mark. And right now it's just below the low mark of the hot temperature safety range. And I'm wondering if it's because the car's been off. I mean, I'm not worried or anything. I mean, the transmission is not slipping or anything. And it does look good. We'll check it. We'll check it again maybe at work after I drove it to work, and I'll check it in the parking lot. But I do wish I had some power steering fluid though. That I could top off that reservoir tank. It's really annoying. All right, let me shut the car off and yeah. All right. Okay. And then after you check your fluids, transmission, and oil, we're going to check the tire pressures. Let's do this. I neglected to mention that another thing you guys are going to do is you're going to check the lights on the car, front and back. The car has stop lights, no, I'm sorry, park lights. In the front it has low beams, high beams, blinkers, and hazards. So we'll check that, and then we will move to the rear of the lights and check those out. So here we go. Here's your park lights. Low beam. Blinker, fog lights are working, hazards front and back are working. Let's move the camera to the back. You're going to do the same thing to the rear of the car, where you check your brake lights, you check your park lights, your left blinker, your right blinker, your, in this case, reverse lights, and your hazards. Make sure they work. And it looks like everything is working. Hazards, blinkers, brake lights, reverse lights, park lights. Did I miss anything? And now let's move to the tires. All right, guys. These tires here, they're rated at 32 psi, but it's not going to always be the same at 32 psi in winter and summer. So there we go. We are at what does it look like, 31 psi. I might have to put a little bit of air in this tire. As I was mentioning earlier, as the temperature goes down from summer to winter, so will the tire pressure. So in the winter, you're going to want to add some air to bring the tires back up to 32 psi, which, by the way, you do when the tires are cold at ambient temperature. This one is also about 31 psi. You can't really see it, can you? Trust me, it's 31 psi, so it just needs 1 psi. It doesn't change much, but if you want to maximize the performance of your tires so that it doesn't bald on the outside or bald in the middle because of the tire pressure. And it's something, if you're a stickler for things like I am, and you have a wife or a husband, you know, if you're the female one in a family that is mechanically inclined. This one is a 32. then yeah, if you're a stickler like me, like I was saying, then you want to, I know you'll take care of these things. Obviously, well, it's not obvious. Not many cars have this feature, and not everybody seems to think it is, but cars have actually 5 tires. And you're supposed to check the 5th tire as well. This one is also at 32. We are looking good. So we're good all the way around. We're off by 1 psi. I'm not too worried. Might put a little air in a tire later after I go pick up my daughter at the school, my little 6-year-old. And there's also a tire in the trunk. This one has a donut instead of a standard size tire, and I think it's 60 psi. So, damn it, I forgot to pop the trunk. Let me pop the trunk. All right, the trunk is popped. And then there's all kinds of stuff you got to move out of the way so that you can do the tire pressure check for the spare. And it's good to not only do it for the winter, before the winter starts, it's also good to do it before you go on a long trip. I actually ended up doing a video about this not too long ago. I'm checking, sorry, you guys may not be able to see, I'm just removing these coverings here. And here's well, this is the Toyota Solara, so this is where the Toyota Solara keeps the spare tire. Keeps it right under in the trunk. And if you got a bunch of stuff in the trunk and you're going on a long trip, it's probably gonna suck. I'm not gonna lie to you, but this is what you gotta do. If I'm not mistaken, as I mentioned earlier, let me get a flashlight. Let me see if I have one in here, and I don't. Oh, I'm prepared. I'm prepared me, huh? What do you know? Let me see if maybe I have one of the lights in the car. I know the wife likes to always keep lights everywhere, so if I'm not mistaken, there's probably a flashlight in here. Let's check. Well, what do you know? Here it is. See, I told you. I love my wife, even though she doesn't know how to take care of the car. I guess that's where I come in. There we go. And what do we say? The tire pressure, if I'm not mistaken, on these donuts, at least for this particular car, it's 60 psi max. No, you can't see it because the light is. But anyway, if you can, here it is, 60 psi. So we're gonna check the tire pressure, make sure that it's 60 psi with this very poor illumination. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to bear with me. And this gauge is only good for 50 psi. So we're gonna have to switch to the bigger one that I have right here. Okay, what do we have? We have a 50 psi. All right, guys. So that's the mission. Once I get off this video with you. No, I'm sorry. All right. 40, 50. Yeah, this thing is 10 psi low. So, all right, guys. I'm gonna get off this video with you guys. I gotta put 10 pounds of pressure in a donut. And man, I thought I had some power steering fluid, but I don't. I thought I had it in here. Golly. All right, guys. Well, hopefully, guys and gals, hopefully this video was a help to you. Yeah, get your car checked, man. It's winter and things happen, and you don't want to be stranded or blow an engine like we almost did with my wife when she was 3 quarts oil low in the car, for crying out loud. Damn it, I don't have any power steering fluid. Alright guys, well, we'll see you in the next video. Sorry, I had a video made like this before, but the wife was not happy about it because I had the license plates on it and I had to delete it. So, sorry for that, guys. I do not have, what is this? This is engine oil. I do not have any, oh, here it is. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. I thought these were engine quartz. All right, guys. Like I said, hopefully this video was a help to you. Yeah, check things out, man. Don't neglect it. If you're a guy and you have a wife or girlfriend, and take care of her, man. Check her car, make sure she's good to go on the road. You know, the fluids, like we mentioned, oil, transmission, coolant, brake fluid, windshield washer fluid, power steering fluid, which I'm about to top this one off. I guess I have a leak somewhere. I'm gonna have to figure out where it is. Check your lights, you know, high beam, low beam, blinkers, park lights, hazards, front and back. In the back, you're gonna want to check your license plate lights, which are these ones. We already know. I don't have to put them out there. Actually, I ended up replacing mine with LEDs, and it makes for a good illumination. So when the cop wants to pull you over, they could clearly see. They could clearly see your license plate, which you will get pulled over if any of these lights that I mentioned today are not working properly. So for your own sake, don't give cops a reason to pull you over, guys. All right. Like I said, park lights, brake lights, blinkers, hazards, your reverse lights, and your license plate lights. All right, guys. Oh, and by the way, also check your third brake light tip. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next time. Sorry, I haven't been posting in a while. I'll try to make a point of posting more often. See you guys next time. Bye.